Hi, Mark.
Hey, how you doing, Debbie?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. For some reason this I gotta get this one off. Here. How are things?
Busy. How about you?
Likewise. So, but that's okay. Makes the day go quicker.
Yeah. Makes the day go fast. Sometimes too fast. So
I am trying to find a vaccine, and that is. Have you
you
got
know,
vaccine?
um, so it's ready to go.
What? Yeah.
I'm gonna go upstairs anyway. It's okay. I'm gonna go downstairs.
Okay, can I ask the caller ending in 3220? Can you identify yourself?
It's Cheryl Wink.
Okay. Thanks, Cheryl.
No problem, Debbie. Thanks.
Yeah.
Debbie, I just sent you did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I've got it ready to.
Okay. I didn't know if I could or you needed to, but I knew you probably needed it for the packet. So
Okay. I'll go ahead and make you co-host, and then you can, it's probably easier for you to share it yourself, right?
I'm happy to, if that's okay.
All right, it is 5:45. Everybody here that we anticipated should be here.
We are still waiting on City Manager Lewis,
Okay.
but he should. I would think he'd be joining us any minute.
Perfect. Let's give him a couple more minutes then.
Christina, should we go ahead and start the meeting and then,
I just text him. So let's go ahead and get started. And if he's still not on when it comes to his time, we'll just move forward. And then when he gets on, we'll have him give his update.
okay,
All right, perfect. Then it is 5:47 and we will call the meeting to order now. Debbie, would you be willing to take roll call for us?
great. Vice Chair Clarice Ambler,
Here.
David Carroll,
Here,
Kyle Conrad,
Here.
Martin Gilmore,
Here.
Mark Hesley,
Here.
Julie Parker,
Here.
Leah Beth Pohl.
Here.
We have Councilmember Cheryl Wink, who was called in,
Here.
and Tim Baca, MOA representative.
Here.
And guests, we have Britt Fuiks here, and Amanda Wolf,
Here.
and we have Josie with Englewood Public Schools.
Here.
Excused, we have Reese Adams, and staff, we have Director Christina Underhill and Library and Cultural Arts Manager Mark Mullis.
All right, awesome.
Oh,
Um,
and, okay, sorry, Sean Lewis is joining the meeting.
Perfect. All right, the first thing we gotta do is approve the minutes from last month. So if I could get a motion to approve. Unless somebody wants to bring something up.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March.
Second.
Then we got a second. Is that from Martin?
Yeah.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Do we have any public comment right now scheduled?
We do not.
Okay, beautiful. Then we're going to move right into new business, which brings us back to Amanda Wolf and Britt to talk about the Englewood Mural project. Oh, wait. Yeah.
Hi there. Hello.
Hi.
I'm going to hand it right over to Amanda because I am actually almost to my destination. So, and then I'll slip in after Amanda and Josie get a chance to give an update if that's okay, and I'll cover a few bases from there.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
All right. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all again. I'm going to quickly share my screen. The main thing I wanted to share today was our design concepts. We're still in a really rough moment where we are going to, by next Tuesday, have 8 concepts that all the students will be voting on. So at this point, we have some really rough mock-ups that I will breeze through and show you guys. And we have Josie here as a representative of the students as well. So she's going to share a little bit about her personal design. So this is the very vague idea that we have so far. The idea is the designs will bleed in and out of each other. And I've taken all of the student sketches and then kind of roughly mocked them up, but we'll be able to have more of a final idea by April 15th. Here's my rough idea. And then I'm going to pass it to Josie to speak on her concept, which is this one right here.
Hi, I did the sketch in the bottom right-hand corner after I had the idea of doing a deer native to Colorado with smokestacks on the antlers to kind of represent the urbanization and modernization of society in Englewood and the Denver metro area as a whole.
Yeah, love it. And so yeah, these are really loose. Like I said, I had a day to work on these. So by the 15th, we'll be able to all work together to like finalize these designs. I loved that idea of Josie's because it's cool because it ties into nature, but also kind of our relationship to nature. So, and that's kind of a theme throughout. We have this idea. I want to, again, be mindful of our time together, but yeah, I'm just going to scan through these very quickly. We have an underwater theme. We were thinking of going through all the different elements. We have sky. This idea of the ducks wearing various types of hats is really fun and cute. The mountains are going to definitely be in one of them as well. And I just wanted to share as well some of the other sketches. Yeah. There's so many different ideas. Everyone is really excited, and I'm excited to tie everything together next week and be able to vote on, get more final ideas. So yeah, that's where we're at. Josie, do you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think that was everything.
Okay, great. And then unless anyone has any questions for me, that's it from my end.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one. So thank you, Amanda and Josie. I wanted to know if Josie has anything else to add in terms of just Josie, like introducing kind of what it is that appeals to you about this project, and if there's anything that you want to highlight as being, something that you're excited about. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I just kind of wanted to know if there was anything else you wanted to tell the Cultural Arts Commission just about your involvement or process so far.
Sure. I've been really interested in Mural for years. After I went to a convention called Crush Walls in Denver 2 years ago. And I'm really excited to work on this project, especially because Englewood is such a tight-knit community, considering that we only have 2 high schools and we all pretty much went to elementary school together. I'm really excited to continue to work with these people I've grown up with.
That's fantastic, Josie. Thank you for coming to this meeting and sharing that with us. That was wonderful. Really appreciate you.
I'm going to step out of the car because I have dogs in the car, so I apologize. It's just a moment. It's a little windy, so I just wanted to just give a brief update on what I know so far about the process and the planning. We things are lining up, and it looks like everything is a go. I'm checking with CDOT just to triple check that that wall is indeed permittable through CDOT. For the first phase, we did receive permission. There was no requirement for any permits, and I just got in touch with the gentleman through the person that I spoke to the first phase, the second phase also, if that makes sense. So that was one thing. Also, we have permission from Mile High Flood District, and I just need that in writing, but otherwise everything else, all those boxes are checked. As far as I know, and I'll pretty much hand it back over to Christina Underhill, that maybe Christina can speak to the other details if there are any questions. But I wanted to also make it available if there's any questions for me. I'm here to answer them.
Only thing I'll add real quickly is we did share our volunteer waiver, release waiver with Britt. So anybody participating in the project will be required to fill that out when the project does kick off. And we did have confirmation that all the land in the area of Little Dry Creek where this mural is going to go is actually Englewood. So it's just the wall that's in question. So that's where it stands on the city side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Last month, there was confusion about the scope of the project and how it was going to interact with the placemaking. Has there been more clarification around that?
We need to see the final design to make sure it fits within those design guidelines that the Wayfinding placemaking plan has. And so once that's in place, we'll be able to look at that and look at the guidelines and make sure they're lining up.
Okay, and my understanding is that this initial phase that's being approved is just for that one mural right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for clarifying.
And I had one quick note on that. The students have all been provided with the color palette of the placemaking stuff. So everything's going to be in those greens and blues. And as far as we're in the design process right now. So if there are any questions or requests, now would be a great time to share that. I'm happy to share this Google Doc as an asset to all of you. And we can add comments on there in real time. And I'll also keep the design variations updated on that slideshow in real time. In case anybody wants to be more closely involved with the design process, I'm your girl. So feel free to send me an email.
Thank you.
Perfect. And so I think that's just the overview for now. And I think my, I guess my ask to you as a committee, would it be all right for us to just send out the final on the 15th? And then there could either be a discussion or a vote, since that's middle of the month, rather than wait till the next meeting, because we're already rolling out the whole process on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of May. So that's why we're kind of pushing to have everything ready for your approval on the 15th. So just in terms of the logistics of like how to make that streamline and work with you is kind of our question to you.
And I don't want to in any way speak for the commission, so I'm going to throw it to the commission as a whole on what your thoughts are on potentially utilizing that process.
Debbie, are we allowed to do like an email vote or something like that, kind of like we did the Swedish horses, or?
You can do something like this through an email vote. You just can't do email vote when it has to do with funding or budget, anything like that.
Okay, but for like the
Okay.
approval of a design,
Yeah.
that is acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone have any
Okay,
issues with
cool.
that, or is that okay with everybody on the commission?
Fine with me.
I'm fine with that. So we're going to get them on the 15th?
And then, so yeah, my understanding is we're going to get them on the 15th. Then when do we want to have the vote completed by? When do you need that?
It would be great to have feedback by maybe the 20th so that we can adapt if we have to change.
That seems sufficient. to
Yeah,
me.
that seems reasonable to me too.
Do we need to check with the Wayfinding group, the placemaking group? Do they need to say in this?
You should all have the wayfinding and placemaking draft plans there. So
Okay.
what I would ask you to do is just look at that and compare it to the final design and make sure in your eyes it aligns properly.
Okay.
And we'll send the final design over to some of the communications folks that have been working on the plan just to review as well.
Okay, great.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
Is this so the guidelines for this project would be in the wayfinding document?
As far as the color palette's concerned, yes.
So this commission is approving colors. Is that what we're saying? I'm trying to understand what we're approving.
You're going to be approving the final design that Amanda Wolf will be sending you all. We're trying to stay within the guidelines of the wayfinding placemaking master plan. So just look at that, look at the colors, make sure you're seeing a similarity between the final design and those colors.
And my understanding is we're basically just one drop in this process. There's it's us, but then also you are talking with people directly involved in wayfinding and also getting their final
Since this
approval
is
as well.
since this is one of the first projects that's going to align with that plan, we'll get some others involved. I think moving forward, we'll probably remove those individuals and it'll fall on the CAC to make those final approvals and recommendations.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we all understand the scope of what we're doing. So thank you.
That sounds a little interesting to me. Where in the wayfinding and placemaking master plan is the CAC supposed to find this? It's in the appendix, correct?
Yeah, Sean has his hand raised. Go ahead, Sean.
All right.
Thank you. If I could, Madam Chairman, thank you. That's a great question that Councilmember Wink asks, and I appreciate the discussion. As Director Underhill mentioned, this is the first time that we've had a public art process since we've adopted the wayfinding and placemaking master plan. And I do want to be clear that the wayfinding and placemaking master plan does not dictate art, does not dictate public art. What we've tried to do is and Britt mentioned this in her comments, as have the students, that we really want to, try to keep with the branding guidelines that are part of the Wayfinding and Placemaking Master Plan. We've had those for years, actually, and it's a very broad palette. So hopefully it's not very limited. Greens and blues were mentioned, but there are purples and yellows and orange, well, not yellows, but oranges. There are a lot of colors that are in that palette. So we think it's going to be pretty easy to stay within those guidelines. But to be clear, the Wayfinding and Placemaking Master Plan never contemplated, helping to design or approve art. It really gave, guidance on signage, as well as, here's where and the types of things that you could put to create placemaking, of which art is one, but it does not necessarily dictate design. And I think what Christina and others of you have been working on is really creating a process for approvals that can, make sure that we're in alignment. But at this time, we don't have that firmly in place. So hope that's helpful.
And I think that's exactly where these questions are coming from, right? With the lack of a current direct process for approvals, we just want to make sure that everybody understands exactly the scope of what their experience is going to be with us and influence is going to be. Does anybody else have any questions about the mural and this project that's coming up? Does everyone feel comfortable with the scope of what the CAC will be contributing to this? David, you look very unsure. Please speak up. David, you are muted.
I'll follow the path of, yeah, this whole project for me has been interesting to the process, but if everybody's in agreement, I will follow the rest of the group. So.
And David, if I could say also, whether it be that you have questions or any thoughts about the future of the corridor and the design, and if further murals exist or the phase 3, that I'm all ears. I mean, I would just love to hear your feedback, whatever degree it sounds like. I'm open to hearing at another time, perhaps, or maybe a private meeting or what have you. But I really love the tough questions. I like your concerns, or anybody's, like, yay, let's do this, or hey, I'm not sure about this, because that tells me there's something to work with. There could be some other things we're missing for phase 3 if we don't hear from you, if you have questions about it, or anyone else for that matter. So thank you for thinking through it. I appreciate that. So, and we're really excited about this phase 2. I mean, the kids are on board, and it's encouraging. It's really encouraging. So thanks for all of your time. And if there's nothing else, then yeah, go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Really appreciate that update. And I think it did clarify some things, and that we're in a better place than we were last month when we had this brought up, where it sounded like people were like, wait, how many walls are we doing? How many murals are we doing? What's happening? We're doing this mural, we're working on that design right now, and we're getting that approval. And it sounds like there is communication between the stakeholders in this. So
yeah.
Can someone remind me does the CAC have a budget responsibility now or in the future for this project? Okay, thanks.
Now, just to clarify to your question, Martin, this is the second phase. So in the future, the CAC could be involved if that was an interest or a point of involvement. I would also say that the murals, take a look at Amanda's original deck. We can send that back out if you'd like, or to refer back to that, that there are 4 canvases. The sites are, there are 4 canvases. So the second phase includes 4 pieces. 3 of them are student artwork, and one of them is Amanda's piece to tie in the first phase that will tie into the students' work. So that's why we have elected to have Amanda's help, is to really make it all flow really, really beautifully. I just wanted to kind of emphasize the whole, maybe that's too much information, but yeah, it's a stretch of concrete for sure. It's a good space, good amount of space. So, all right. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Britt.
Have a good one. Bye.
All right, we're gonna move on to talking about our wayfinding peeps. Our wayfinding project is, oh, there's Mr. Lewis. I'm gonna toss the ball on over to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And actually, I think, Christina, you've got probably screens to share, right? Or can you do that?
Let me work on it. If you want to start talking, we'll get them up. Actually,
Great.
I don't know if I can screen share. Debbie, can you do that? Okay, thank you.
Oh, thanks, Debbie. And Christina, just to verify, this is to talk about the art and the medians, right? Yeah, yes, okay. All right, so what I asked to be on the agenda because we've got a really exciting opportunity. As you know, council is poised next week to approve a budget supplemental that we've been talking to them. We've had 3 meetings with council. We've had 1 meeting with Planning and Zoning Commission because some of the projects are capital in nature. And they're getting ready to approve over $4 million in new capital and one-time expenditures. One of those major expenditures that's a part of that is turning our medians from what Councilmember Steve Ward called moonscapes into something attractive and that looks good for the city. And so we're really excited about that opportunity. And we wanted to just let you know that we think that there's an opportunity to partner with the CAC in this effort. So I think I probably would just correct the agenda and say this is placemaking, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's related necessarily to the wayfinding and placemaking plan. It's just one opportunity of many that we have throughout the city to do some placemaking in our medians in this case. And so if you look at this design, it's probably a little bit small on your screen like it is on mine. But as you can see, we're calling for a number of plantings, some seasonal, well, it's not really seasonal color, but it's color during the seasons that it comes back each year. We've got some evergreens, we've got landscape boulders, shrubs, and kind of a serpentine boulder rock motif through the median design. But what we really want to call to your attention are those 4 foot by 4 foot colored concrete pads that we're calling sculpture pads. It doesn't have to be sculpture. I mean, theoretically, I suppose we could put, a big city logo or something there, but we think that our community is more artistic and creative and interesting than that. And we would really like to have, some really cool sculpture. So we're a long ways from, having all of this finalized, and these are just conceptual plans at this point, but I wanted to see if the CAC would be interested in partnering with us on potentially selecting and possibly even some funding for some art there, knowing that these are very harsh environments. One of the reasons why plantings in medians are difficult is because this is a very harsh environment. And if you think it's harsh for plants, it's probably even harsher for a static piece of art. And we recognize that that challenge. And so, but yeah, just wanted to let you know that this is on our radar screen. And if council on April 19th approves the funding for these and other capital and one-time expenditures, we want to come back to you and see if you might be interested. But at this point, it's just throwing out an idea and seeing if there would be interest, and then coming back to you when we're ready to, potentially start finalizing design, et cetera. Because maybe 4 by 4 foot platforms are not adequate. Maybe there's something different that we could do all together. We're really open to that, but kind of want to plant the seed. So I guess I would take any questions that you might have about this project.
Is it the entire east-west corridor of Hamden, or what are our streets boundaries there?
Yes, thank you. That's a great question. And actually, I think you've got 2. Well, you might not. I don't know if it's in your your agenda packet.
It's in our packet, yeah.
Okay, great. The exact locations, but Christina, help me there with the exact locations.
So that's going to be, yeah, it's going to be on Hamden. I'm thinking we're designing 4 right now, total medians. And then this is potentially going to expand if other funding is approved to other medians on I think it's South, yeah, it's South Broadway, or additional medians that we'll be adding into.
And so you say there's 4 of these that you're looking at. Is each one of them going to have 2 sculpture locations that you're looking to place at this point? So, you know, that turns into a fair amount of art all of a sudden.
It does, and I actually made the same comment to our Parks and Recreation staff, and Dave Lee, our open space manager, is helping coordinate this with Christina. And I mentioned that I'm not even totally sure that we need these on both ends. If we think about these as more or less kind of a secondary gateway, where we will already have had a welcome sign when you come into the city, hopefully, because that's also slated to get funded in this round of funding. But that this would be kind of a secondary gateway of like you're arriving, and here's something really cool that we're putting at the kind of the entrance, secondary entrance to the city. So we would love to have your feedback on that. I don't think that all 4 of the medians need 2 platforms, but certainly I would want them on the 2 ends of the, like as you come into the city on Hamden from both east and west. I think that we need them on those ends, but you know, we might could do additional as well. I'd love your feedback on that.
This is Julie. I'm super interested in this from the like maintenance perspective of these. Like you said, that's a harsh environment, and I think there's definitely an opportunity to select artworks and have agreements ahead of time that would make it as easy as possible to maintain those. And so I'm interested in that. That's all.
Yeah, great point.
I guess I'm curious too, because so I'm assuming it would take some funding from our committee, right, for the sculpture piece?
Yes, although, I mean, I think that we would have some funding as well in the budget allocation that we've got now, but I think it probably should be a partnership with you all.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just wondering, like, the amount of sculptures I'm thinking might be a lot at once. I'm wondering like what the slated year plan is for it. Like, is it something where we could do 1 or 2 sculptures a year, or does it all have to be done at once, just cost wise, or is that something that we'll know once it's being voted on? Does that make sense?
So I think so. So you're talking about like a phased approach. So I will say that our plan is to implement the landscaping all at once. We can put the pads in place or some sort of pedestal or foundation in for future art, but not fund the art, right away. I think that's fine. Okay.
That's my question. Like if we did 1, like say you have it ready to go this year, we could do 1 this year and then maybe look at doing 1 for the next few years, so we get the right pieces in there instead of trying to like do them all at once and maybe not getting the quality or level of pieces.
I think that's a really good point.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely not going to be a big deadline. I mean, we'd like to get a couple of pieces up in the first year or so, but there's no hard and fast rule on this, and I think the commission can certainly take their time and get the right piece.
Mm-hmm. And is that kind of the plan, to put a call out for public art and have local artists submit ideas?
I would leave that up to you all. The only thing that I am kind of interested in at least one of the spots, or because we're planning on doing some work like this on Broadway as well, is I really want to think about pieces that do say something about our history. I love the green grass, and I think that's a beautiful sculpture. It's one of my favorite gateways of any city. But I also think there's opportunity to have a sculpture that relates more to something in the city's history. Christina, I was talking to her about, a giant carnation that comes out of the ground at one of the entrances, because we were Carnation City for 20-30 years, I can't remember how long, and provided the White House with carnations for the entire Eisenhower administration. They all came from Englewood. So I think that I would love to see something that had a little bit of a tie back, but I also I think we need to have a call for artists and just see what, creative and interesting things people come up with. But honestly, I defer to you. I'm expressing my one preference for at least a piece that ties back to something historical, but I defer to this commission for how to select that.
Okay, awesome. And in terms of just future thinking with those maintenance costs, is that being figured into the current requests for funding? How much it would cost to maintain not just the pillars and the landscaping, but potentially the public art as well?
It has not been, but we haven't talked about budget really at all.
Okay, fair enough. Yep. All right.
I have a note on that since I've been doing the art maintenance. I think we'll be able to maintain stuff going forward because we're almost finished with our list. I mean, besides the bicycle racks, that's kind of everything else is of moderate need. So
I would like to mention too, Clarice and others, that if it ends up being a piece that we're going to look at the guidelines later, but if it's in the city's permanent collection and it's not owned by us, Parks and Rec is actually required to maintain the pieces. So that is not part of our conservation.
Fantastic. Good to know.
The
more you know.
And this is Julie again. I'd just like to speak up. I don't know if we're going to discuss this tonight, but with the arts plan that we've been talking about, one of the things that in the section that I was working on was, supporting community artists, local artists. And I think this is such an awesome opportunity to recognize and put artwork out there for the public to see created by people artists working in Englewood. So I think this is an exciting opportunity.
I completely agree.
If I could add to that, I think you would have to go to an interstate to find more visibility than these pieces will have. If an artist wants their piece seen, you would literally have to put it on I-25 or I-70. This is one of the highest traffic volumes, roadways in the region. So I think it's a great opportunity. So I agree with that.
Yeah, it matches up really well with our current pillars and where we're trying to take our strategic plan initiatives. So thank you.
If I could add one other thing on cost, and I appreciate the clarification on maintenance, you are going to get a percentage of all of this capital spending that I'm mentioning. So this is above and beyond the CIP that we have adopted for 2021. This is a supplemental additional set of projects that most of which will be eligible for the 1%. And then we start in about 3 weeks on the 2022 capital improvement plan projects. And so, those are separate and apart. So this is above and beyond what we have in the capital projects now. So it's about 4.4 million, I think, is what we're proposing.
Okay.
You feel this is something that's going to move forward?
We have gotten 3 very good reads from council. They provided some feedback. They did modify the list just a little bit, but these have been very well received. And in fact, I will mention Councilmember Anderson, I think it is, has really been pushing for this type of work as well on Old Hamden. So I think there's definitely some support, a lot of support for doing something with our dead, lifeless moonscape medians in the city. So thank you.
Absolutely. And you asked that the CAC be open to you bringing designs to the future for us to kind of give you our feedback and our thoughts on that. And I think that would be perfectly appropriate for us to do that.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Anything else? Anyone have any questions? Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Next up, let me pull up my agenda here. Oh, all right. Now we have an update about our Romans Park mushrooms. Christina, tell us about the mushrooms.
Thank you. No major update other than we have 7 of them and they all look like what you see in this picture. So I know the Cultural Arts Commission has talked about this could be a renovation project where these get designed into something more than what you're seeing here. I did want to show you, this is our brand new playground at Romans Park. So you can get an idea of kind of this outdoorsy theme that we have going on. It doesn't have to match, the mushrooms don't have to match the playground or any of the park features per se, but like I said, we have 7 of them and they're looking a little sad and run down. I do understand that some people do like the brown mushrooms. They are an identifier to that park. It's possible maybe only a couple get renovated into a nice art piece, but it's all up to you guys. If there's an appetite to move forward with these mushrooms this year, you did set aside a little funding to do so. So I just wanted to put it out there that these do still exist and they might need a little love.
Yeah, I've seen them. I saw them not too long ago and I kind of like them personally, but we can, maybe add that as a bigger agenda item for next month and see if we want to vote on, have we already designated funds for mushrooms?
Yeah.
For this year? We have. Do we have an idea of, would this fall under conservation? Are we looking to recruit somebody to paint our mushrooms for us?
Can I for a second? Oh.
No, go ahead, Julie.
No, I was just going to say, I went over and took a look at them too. And, the discussion about like repainting them or, making them a different color or whatever, that's all well and good. But I just wanted to point out that there are a few like stability issues with them that you might want to look into a little bit more. I took some photos, but I wasn't sure if we were discussing it tonight, so I didn't upload them. But there are areas where, like if you look in the picture that's on the screen right now, that overhanging like top of the mushroom, there's a metal frame that rests on. And in some areas, there's a lot of corrosion. And then there was even one that I saw where a big chunk of concrete had fallen out of it. So there's definitely cracking. And I don't know, like I think we might want to take a look at it from like a safety and stability issue before we start talking about like just changing the color and stuff.
I'll add really quick, our parks crews have noticed all of that and they did go out to bid. I think it might have just recently closed to have somebody professionally come out and restore these back and add concrete to them so they're not falling apart. But yeah, they have been looking at those for that reason. I don't want to spend money into something that eventually will just crumble to the ground. So
okay.
Yeah, I agree with you, Julie. There are some concerns with the structure. We'll keep an eye on that, and I'll check with the parks staff too to see where we're at on those bids.
Great.
Christina, do you have a vision yourself, or does Parks have a vision for these that could be presented to cultural arts? If there are 2 or 3 that you think ought to be done, that you could maybe present those and then share what that may look like, and then we could move forward from those recommendations.
Yeah, I don't know if park staff or myself know exactly what to do with these. I kind of envision these being like more of a mosaic down in the trunk area and then something colorful on top, but it is somewhat limited because you can't really add a lot to these and we don't want to compromise their structure. So yeah, what we'll do is I'll pick out the best 3 that we have that we know will withstand time, hopefully. And then I'll talk to the guys too, see if they have any ideas of maybe what these could become. And also all of you, brainstorm a little bit. And if you have something, we can share that at the next meeting.
Does anyone think that this is something that we might want to involve the schools with? I think that'd be a really cool project for the schools to take on if there's a couple of them.
Yeah, I was actually thinking something very similar. This could be another opportunity for engagement, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's definitely something worth talking about. See if there's a school that might be interested in forming a partnership and what that process would look like. Any other thoughts? Any other ideas from the commission?
I have a question. Does anybody know what the history of these were? I mean, I know that they are just structural sitting areas for that park, but is there a history behind them more than that of why they are there?
I don't know if Christina, but at one point, maybe can follow up, at one point, all of our parks had themes.
Oh,
So Jason Park, for example, was a storyteller theme where they had these somewhat paper mache, I'll say, structures that maybe of Alice in Wonderland and some others. I think it was Bellevue Park that had structures of like sharks and dolphins. And the city had won quite a few awards at the time as this kind of sculpture in the park, but most of that stuff has been either destroyed or no longer, it just didn't hold up.
Okay.
My guess is that these are a remnant of that early kind of theming parks. But I don't believe they were, the stories that I've read, none of this has been done by artists necessarily. They were just kind of put together, as you said, as these kind of sitting structures or play structures that for the most part didn't hold up over time, but it seems that these might have.
Yeah, David's got it correct. Sorry, I was on mute and I was talking. But yes, he said everything I was pretty much saying. These were created in-house. Many of the structures that were created in the various parks just didn't survive time. I mean, a lot in the 70s were done in-house. A lot of the play equipment was built in-house sort of thing too. So now there's ADA and accessibility and safety and a lot of codes that go with play structures. And so this is kind of the last of what remains in Englewood. So they weren't commissioned, they were built in-house.
okay. I had no idea.
Well, two more things that I was thinking of too, as far as this playground goes. I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong, but this playground in particular actually does not serve very many kids of Englewood School District, just FYI, because the Englewood boundary is a little bit before that for Charles Hayes. So this park actually tends to serve a lot of kids who go to Cherry Creek School District, because that was annexed off into Cherry Creek. So just something, I don't know if it matters for the commission, but it just might be something to think about. Like the kids who might actually paint on it might not know this park at all in Englewood, because most of the kids live more on the west side or west of this park. And I don't know if it matters or that's too much in the weeds, but just something for us to think about if we get the schools involved, because it might be a transportation issue. Or kids might,
that is extremely relevant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, just something to think about. And then the other thing too, just to add my feedback, I think if they're on the brink of not being structurally sound, or we're potentially investing a lot of funds to make them somewhat structurally sound, I don't know if that's like worth the investment for parks or for us. But that's just my 2 cents. I mean, I think they're cool, but at the same time, like if they are going to take a lot of more structural engineering type maintenance and some right now and down the road, I don't know if that's a project for us. That's just my 2 cents of if we should take it on or not.
I wonder if we could kind of get that information that you're talking about, Christina, and have that presented to us with a little bit more information, a little bit more context, and we can make a decision at that time, if that makes sense.
That's fine. I'll work on that for next month if you'd like to hear it then. And otherwise we can look at a future months too. But yeah, I'll work with the park staff and see where we're at and what they've discovered and what the contractor that we've chosen, if that's been the case, if they've looked at them to see. I'm sure they'll know engineering wise if they're going to stay standing for many years, even if we fix them or not.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's everyone's homework over the next month. Maybe go look at a mushroom and see how you feel about it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on to old business, which is going to include me. We're going to talk about our arts plan initiative. We did a little bit more work on it over the last month. And I think, David, are you going to share your screen and show off all of our hard work?
Can do that.
Thank you very much.
Let me do this. Boom here. Boom here.
Ooh, you made it pretty.
So what I did was I tried to pull out the actual, I mean, we had a lot of notes up top, but I tried to pull out the actual and then began to kind of start to fill in. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to write the letter for the mayor or the city manager, but people could get a sense. Do you want me to just walk through this, Clarice, real quick?
Yeah, I would love that. Thank you.
Or do that. So just so everybody, we just wanted to keep everybody kind of up to date as we were going through the draft. again, to get any feedback that you might have. And so what the team came up with was an outline similar to what I'm going to show you right now with some changes. We looked at a couple of plans and tried to take the best out of each one and put them together for what we were trying to do. So at the beginning, we would talk about the project team. Obviously, there's more Arts Commission members and since we started and more city council members maybe than since we started, and obviously parks from Christina and others. So that would be, we would add those in as we go along. The idea is that we might have a message or a letter from the mayor, a message and a letter from city manager, just in support of the arts in our community and what's going, how they can be, create community and be economic drivers. And then we could very well have a, if Council Member Wink is interested as well, we could have our Council Member Liaison letter, and these can be read around, changed, and then have a letter from our CAC chair, again, all just in support of this. We would then give an executive summary of what we came up with later on. We would talk a little bit about how we created this plan. We did do a lot, as you know, a lot of research of other plans. We have this process here where we did all that. We're kind of in this right plan first draft section. We've gone through all those. We're going to hopefully attain some feedback. And then at some point, move this to city council. And these will be filled in with, some of the background and how they worked. And then if you remember at the last meeting, we talked a little bit about this idea that really Clarice came up with, that was these 5 pillars. And when we looked at some other plans, it was interesting. Other plans also had, well, Denver's Imagine 2020, I think, has 7 what they call focus areas or pillars. I'm not sure if they call them, but it's all very similar. When you start to look at plans, they use a similar structure. And so that's what we tried to do. Each one of us took a bit and piece of one of the 5 pillars. And so we can share this with you. Obviously, we got this late to Debbie in the packet, so we apologize for that. But what we ultimately with the pillars, what we thought we would do is talk about the strengths that were identified by those focus groups, some of the challenges that were identified by the focus groups, and then talk about whether we call it a focus or a strategy, what would we do moving forward, or what are we recommending? And in large part, I think what we'll do is we'll flesh some of these out to make them more general in a lot of ways, and so that future cultural arts commissions can hopefully just kind of follow, and if council approves, a general guideline of where we would hope to go. So we have, as you saw, we had education and marketing, we have engagement, strengths, challenges, focus, accessibility, strengths, challenges, focus. As you can see, we're still working on artist community support, and then collaboration. We have strengths, challenges, and focus. And so in some of these areas, you can see, like within the challenges, what many had said was Englewood does lack one central organization that will advocate and advance public policy for artists, community builders. As a result, the city does lack a vision that shapes the environment of arts and culture as a whole. We do say up, top that we have lots of wonderful programs, but I think what we kept hearing from somebody is there's maybe not one organization that tries to tie it all together. And so a strategy there might be to encourage the development of a cultural district, explore opportunities for an arts center or something like that. We can still work that out. Partner with others such as creative industries or the SDFD or CBCA. Maybe that might be too specific either. We could just say partner with these organizations in the future. And so that's just one example of how we might move that forward. Achieving our collected vision. In large part, it's taking these focus areas and trying to kind of prioritize what we're, so if, for example, using this example, if everybody on the commission felt that it was really important to have that central organization, such as an arts center or a cultural district, that could be priority number 1 blah, 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 or we feel the marketing and communications would be important, and that would be priority number 1 and 2 and 3, and we could separate those out. And then really the appendix would be our cultural institutions, some suggested partners. We'd put in here the cultural arts survey that we did and the results of that, and then a list of other arts plans that we looked at. And so really from there, I think we just wanted to share this. We can obviously send it and give you guys more time to read it and get, again, any feedback if you thought we were going in the right direction. Ideally, in the end, we would take all of this text and either try to convince someone on the city staff that does such a wonderful job, or go back to some of our other graphic design friends that have been on the commission and see if they might make this look more like a exciting arts plan that could then be presented to the Arts Council, or the City Council.
Yeah, this is the result of a lot of hard work by Leah Beth and David and Julie, and then also myself. So that's kind of the people that have put some of their heart and soul into this. I definitely would like to send this out to everyone, and please take the time to read it and let us know if there's some place where we're off base, or if you have an idea that we haven't thought about, or just a suggestion, anything like that. Please feel free to send that directly to me. I'm happy to take that feedback and integrate it into this along with the rest of the team's help. So yeah, anybody have any questions for us about this? Okay.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
we're making something. Look, there's a product now, so progress is being made. This has been David's baby for like 2 years, so it's very exciting. All right, so we're gonna move on then to an update about our Swedish horse project, another very exciting thing we've been working on for forever.
Yeah,
So
great.
Go ahead, Mark.
So thanks. Yeah, so the horses are available now to be picked up by the artists. In fact, 9 of the 10 artists have picked up their horses. I've been filming a couple of questions. They're all excited. Everyone who's picked one up has expressed great enthusiasm. Now, the one wrinkle of that is that the horse that is remaining is the one that I don't know if you're all aware has sort of teeth. It's hard to describe, but it looks different than the others. David's nodding. You know, all right. I see a couple of nods here. So I'm not sure if that horse simply hasn't come by to pick them up yet, or if they took one look at the teeth and ran off in the other direction. So we'll, I'm gonna reach out to them and find out what the scoop is there. But yeah, so those are underway. We've asked for them to be returned in the next few weeks, or in the next 6 weeks. And then at that point, they'll be taken over to AMPA for the sort of final seal so that they'll be ready for installation. Reese is working on the locations. My understanding is that that's going well, but she'll be able to provide an update on that when she's back.
I bumped into Alicia, the owner of Zomo, and she was one of the people that was asked, can we put a horse in front of your place?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, please give me a horse.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
I would also.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, David.
I was going to just say, I've also added, I don't know if you have caught this, but on Instagram, there's a handful of the artists that are posting kind of as they're going through the process.
No.
And they're,
I talked to a few about kind of documenting their progress. So that's great. I had not seen that though. I'll check it out.
I've seen a couple that, did they start out gray?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So that was the beginning phase, and then they had placed some other,
right.
It started posting some pictures kind of as their process went on.
Do you know who those artists are? Is there a way we can follow them?
I'll try to remember and get them to you, Martin. I just, you know,
in a couple months.
Were they using a hashtag?
You know, I'm sitting around flipping through Instagram, not really paying attention, you know.
That's fine. I just want to follow him. So.
That was, and I was kind of had a similar question of like, what were the winning designs, and was there a way to find out who the artists were? So,
didn't we go over them like 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must have missed that meeting.
Yeah, I think you're. Yeah.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
You might have, but the whole list is out there.
I just meant like we went over them 2 months ago, so you should be able to look back maybe in our minutes or our packet from a couple months ago and get the link for it.
Oh, I still have the one that the former mayor did in my garage. So when that needs to get transported someplace, let me know and where it needs to go, and we'll figure out how to pull that little stunt
We're gonna
off,
put that in
so.
front of your house, Mark.
Yeah.
That's where she's staying.
Well, it's got a bunch of stuff draped over it in the garage right now, so.
Look at all these initiatives we're getting done.
I know,
great.
we really are, we're crushing it.
Yeah.
We should have made a hashtag for Instagram for those horses. We talked about that when we first started doing this, and that kind of fell.
We did. That fell off, but we
That's
were,
okay. That's all right. I'm just excited about these horses.
It's never too late to create a hashtag.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. Can we like reach out to them and be like, hey, do hashtag Swedish horse project? I don't know.
I do have the, yeah, I am going to follow up with all of them because we're going to request W-9s and a contract so that they can get paid the stipend that you all designated. So if you'd like, I can offer the suggestion to use a hashtag for posting their updates to social media. Do you have one in mind?
I mean, like Swedish horse Englewood or Swedish
That's
horse
too long.
project. Swedish horses. I don't know. What's a good hashtag? I don't hashtag.
Englewood horse. It's something.
Englewood
horses. Yeah. All right. I'll come up with something. We'll get this. Yeah.
We trust you.
Okay.
Three words is too long for hashtag.
Gosh, and they are compound words too. You're right. That's too much.
That's just an opinion.
And Julie, if I think I get your email address, I can send you the email announcement showing who the winning designs and yeah.
Thank you. I'm looking back through and I can't find it. So
yeah, I'll have to log into my Emma and forward that email to you. But thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Yep.
Perfect. Any other questions? Any other comments about that? Amazing. We are making amazing progress with that. Okay, I think that's it for all of that. Oh, go ahead, David. You have a question?
Are you going to hit the crosswalks?
I certainly can. I have a very small update for that. Oh, I have an old copy of the agenda. Sorry, I skipped over.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that's all right. George did reach out to me, and so I had an update for you for the group if you wanted. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just a little bit of context. Grow and Gather did submit an application for a creative crosswalk. Oh gosh, my computer just did a weird thing. For a creative crosswalk, they haven't submitted a design yet or anything like that. They have just submitted the basic application. So that's something that's going to be rolling towards us in the future. Once they have a design and approval from Parks and Rec, we'll probably be voting on that. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And then go ahead, David.
Great. Yeah, the only thing I was going to ask, and I don't know who this might be an ask of, but I know on that application form, I think George reached out and said he had found, after he had submitted the application, he did receive back the community support folks. So he got Craig Hospital as a support, and the folks that are doing the new Corona Street lofts. But one of the things I was wondering is if we could, on that form, make that make some of them a mandatory fields so that he wouldn't have been able to submit it without, because now he wants to add that back. And so I just didn't know if that's possible I know it's possible to do, but I don't know if we could, how we would move that forward. Just to make some of those, I think we maybe make some of those fields mandatory before somebody submits it. And then
David, I can work with communications.
Okay.
And I can work with them on, do you know what field you want mandatory, or?
I could share that. Maybe we could share that with that. Because the other part of that, unless we break up the image, what they're intending, that would be another part that we'd almost make mandatory. I think when talking to George, he got excited about submitting his application and just went, great, here's the space, and submitted it. And then as things have come in, he's like, how do I resubmit it with this information and this information? And obviously we can't, I don't think there's a way to do that, but we could surely talk about if there's a better way. We might have a 2-part application. But if you remember when we did these as tests, we kind of knew the process, but obviously this is our first live test where somebody's like, I just want to do this. And so it's probably not as intuitive as we thought it would be, because he's reached out a couple of times to do that. The only other thing I would say is I did share with him the costs of the two. I believe are the one that with the forks and spoons costs about $3,000. And then Tim, I believe the one that you guys did cost $7 to $8. Is that correct? So depending, I told him, depending on what they are planning to do or what they would like to do, and gave them the guidelines as well and what they couldn't do, it could be within that range. The 3,000 didn't make him go, but the 7 to 8, he went, oh boy. And so wanted to know, just give you a heads up, wanted to know if there might be an opportunity to get a little help from the Cultural Arts Commission. And I believe we do have a line item that we were left in there to try to help this happen. And so there might be depending on his design and what his artist comes back with and what is approved from that way. So my understanding is that, and maybe Christina or Mark, if you know, is that this area which he's identified, the business is identified as being reviewed to see if it even fits within the framework of a crosswalk. If that sounds right. So anyway, that was my.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Sorry, I saw Leah Beth, you unmuted yourself, so
I was just gonna say thank you.
Oh, okay.
He needed a close, Thank
Give
you.
him some snaps. Thanks. No, thank you for that update. Yeah, we'll see what they come back with. And I do believe that we have a line item. We set aside some money specifically for this project. So that'll be cool to review when that comes to fruition. Okay, I think now we are moving on to, yep, we're ready. Okay, we're moving on to staff's choice. So.
I have no update tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
No update from me either. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else, staff?
I don't have anything.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. All right, then we're going to move on to commissioner's choice. I don't think I have anything. Anyone?
I know this is supposed to be where we announce projects and stuff like that, but Martin, you'd mentioned, I think in an email or something in there with the agendas when we were talking about is talking about the bikes, and we don't have to talk about that now, but is that something for next month's agenda? And
yeah, I sent it in, I think too late to get it on the agenda. Yeah. And really I just wanted to start getting the ball rolling for getting that stuff done. We need to choose colors. We need to figure out, and since it is such a high cost, we have to figure out if we're going to have an artist restore it, if the city can do it. So we'll save it for next time. It's fine. Okay.
And it sounds like, it sounds like also that there's been other items that have been conserved. So maybe
nothing since the last one, but we just didn't have, we had done pretty well on our list. So anyway, yeah.
That's it.
I haven't made any command decisions or anything.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll make sure that's on the agenda for next month. We can get that ball rolling. Anybody else? Thank you all for putting up with me running my first meeting like this.
You did great.
Yeah, you did a good job. I think that happened to me as soon as I became vice chair too. The second month, I was like, I have to run this now. Oh no!
Oh,
So
good.
Good job. You've been around for a while. You know what to do.
Yeah, in general. Okay. Wow, I feel like that was super productive. So thank you everybody for coming and giving us so much information. I think that we're good to adjourn. Do I have to make a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
In theory, but
Thanks, Clarice. You just leave. You just walk away.
Bye, everybody.
mic drop.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys. Everybody take care.
Bye.
Yeah, everybody. Bye.